Welcome back. Today we're delving into the controversial climate policies of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Australia's Sky News reaction. Strap in because this analysis is about to get heated. I'm QuikPolitics, and if you find this content engaging, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button, as your support truly helps the channel grow. Now, let's delve into the heart of the matter. Trudeau's recent assertion that combating climate change may require measures incompatible with democracy has sparked intense debate and garnered widespread criticism. Many have ridiculed Trudeau for even suggesting authoritarian tactics as a solution to environmental challenges, questioning the efficacy and ethics of such an approach.
At 0 cents. But just very quickly have a quick look at the laughable Justin Trudeau talking how climate change and democracy don't seem to work together. Have a listen.
We're all facing a series of challenges, new and old. We're still reeling from a pandemic that put immense pressure on our democracies. We're seeing growing distrust of government and media and increased polarization exacerbated by misinformation and disinformation. We're dealing with insecurity caused by armed conflicts and climate change. So today, I'm announcing that Canada is investing $8.4 million on research across the global south to better understand how climate change interacts with democratic decline.
The Australian Sky News recently took aim at Trudeau, highlighting what they perceive as his lack of understanding of climate issues, despite his attempts to position himself as a global leader on the matter. For Canadians, it's akin to watching a comedy show, except the stakes are far too serious to laugh off.
That's too good. I mentioned a comedy show, how climate change, James, interacts with democratic decline. These people are completely bonkers.
Well, Rowan, it's the same thing, it's climate change, it's misinformation, it's disinformation, it's, propaganda, it's all right. All of these sort of things, they come up with these bogeymen that wind up having one result. We have to make sure that you have free speech to say the things that are approved. We have democracy to vote for the approved candidates. It's all about narrowing freedom, narrowing your choices, Rowan and Rita. That's where this is all going.
Well, that's the comedy hour. I tell you, Trudeau, it doesn't get any funnier than that.
Trudeau's handling of dissent regarding climate policies has also come under scrutiny, with accusations of him attempting to suppress opposition by conflating skepticism of government actions with opposition to climate action. This tactic raises concerns about the erosion of democratic principles in the name of environmentalism.
Mr. Speaker, with record-setting wildfires across the country, with droughts, with floods, Canadians know the costs of the impacts of climate change. The Leader of the Opposition has no plan to fight climate change. He's not proposing anything except, Mr. Speaker, to pull away both the price on pollution, which forces polluters to pay right across the country, that puts more money through checks that arrive 4 times a year in Canadians' pockets in the jurisdictions where there is a carbon price. We have a plan to fight climate change and put money in people's pockets. He has no plan.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Whoa, he doesn't need to get angry about it. Just asking some numbers here.
Just some numbers.
Right? So he was very anxious to talk about these wonderful rebates up until a moment ago. And now he doesn't want to say a thing about it. He even gave him a fancy new name. I'm going to say it again. In Ontario, the gross cost of the carbon tax is $1,674 for the average family. $1,674. How much is the rebate?
Just the number. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
He suggests that I don't have to get angry about climate change. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. Canadians are worried and angry about climate change. They see the wildfires cutting across this country last summer that are already started up in Alberta. He sees the droughts. They see the floods. They have no plan. Their plan is to withdraw the 4 times a year checks that land in the bank accounts of Canadians, that the Parliamentary Budget Officer demonstrates gives more money to 8 out of 10 families right across the country in jurisdictions where it's applied. Mr. Speaker, we have a plan. He doesn't.
Moreover, Trudeau's announcement of significant investments in researching the relationship between climate change and democratic decline has been met with skepticism. Many view it as a thinly veiled attempt to justify potential authoritarian measures under the guise of addressing environmental concerns.
So today, I'm announcing that Canada is investing $8.4 million on research across the global south to better understand how climate change interacts with democratic decline.
Critics argue that the Liberal government's rhetoric on climate change, often laced with buzzwords like disinformation, serves as a pretext for curtailing individual freedoms and manipulating public opinion.
An increased polarization exacerbated by misinformation and disinformation.
This approach has set off alarm bells among Canadians who cherish democratic values and freedom of expression. Adding to the absurdity, some Toronto officials have proposed taxing citizens for rainwater runoff, citing it as a contributor to flooding and pollution. Instead of addressing infrastructure issues, they seem more interested in extracting additional funds from hardworking Canadians, highlighting misplaced priorities within the government, following in the footsteps of the Trudeau government of taxing everything they do wrong to cover up their mistake.
Ken Christie has lived in his North York home for nearly 82 years and pays more in taxes now than the price tag on the whole house when his parents first bought it.
That's all they do is raise your taxes.
And he's not pleased at the prospect of having to pay a stormwater surcharge for his property, what critics are calling a rain tax.
That's ridiculous. It's just another tax grab.
But as the snow melts and the rain runs off, the city is mulling the idea of charging residents a separate stormwater fee, likely based on the specific characteristics of their property.
Don't you think the 9.5 tax surcharge that we just received is enough? That should be able to cover this?
It's just another fee that residents will have to pay.
Right now, residents are charged a pay-as-you-go water rate based on the volume they use, which includes stormwater management costs. The new proposal would see stormwater fees removed from the water rate and a separate tax added to utility bills as a fixed charge to directly fund stormwater infrastructure.
Trudeau's climate policies extend beyond environmental considerations. They have significant economic ramifications as well. Industries face mounting costs and regulatory burdens, while ordinary Canadians experience the direct impact of increased taxation and cost of living. This combination of environmental and economic pressures creates a challenging landscape for Canadians to navigate. As Canadians grapple with Trudeau's authoritarian tendencies and the financial burden of his climate policies, there's a growing call for accountability and a demand for better governance. It remains to be seen whether Canadians will mobilize against these policies and push for a more balanced approach that respects democratic principles while addressing environmental challenges effectively. Thank you for joining us. If you appreciate content that delves into critical issues, consider subscribing for more insightful updates. Stay informed, and until next time, I'm QuikPolitics, signing off.